Okay, this is video 4 if you're keeping track in trigonometry revision series. This one's going to deal with angles of elevation, but since we're actually talking about it, I thought I'd talk about both angles of elevation and depression. Now, as you can see, this is a very well drawn and well crafted eye. I've still got my trigonometric ratios over here because I'm going to be using them in this question. So basically, if I look straight ahead or horizontally or at the horizon, I suppose, then if I move my eye up to look up, then I'm elevating it, and this is my angle of elevation. So angle of elevation. If I look down, then this of course becomes my angle of depression. So basically we do this every day if we're looking at something at our feet or something above our head. So in this particular context, the angles of elevation I personally think are easier than dealing with an angle of depression, and I'll show you that in the next video. So this one is all about an angle of elevation and that type of question. Now, I do apologise, I am going to make you slightly sick by moving the document camera, and I'm actually probably going to wipe out what I just wrote. So let's actually look at a question. So, a person 2 metres tall is standing on the ground looking up at a building. So remember, when we give you these questions, we're not going to give you the diagram, and one of the parts of your answer is you do need to produce a diagram for us. So here is my person, okay, and I know that he is 2 metres tall. Now this is going to become important later on in the question, so make sure that you label it. Whenever I'm doing an angles of elevation or depression question, the first thing I mark on is the horizon. In this particular case, the person looking straight forward. Now he is looking at a building, so let's draw in the building. Let's put a little window in it. Yep. So he's looking at a building, and the question says, well, what do we actually know? Well, he's looking at the top of the building, and it says here that if a person is 18 metres from the building, so this is an important thing that we need to remember in the question, because that makes this distance down the bottom 18 metres. He is 18 metres from the building. And of course it says that from the building, and if a person is 18 metres from the building and the angle of elevation to the top of the building is 30 degrees, then this angle here has to be 30 degrees. So what it wants us to do is find the height of this building. Now we need to be careful because, as I said, this 2 metres becomes important, because this 2 metres we're going to have to add on to what we find in our particular triangle, because remember, he's 2 metres above the ground. So just be careful about this, because this is one of the ways in which this question can become a little bit tricky. So if we have a look, I'm actually going to do, I do this all the time, I'm actually just going to draw in a triangle that I'm a little bit more used to. So I'm trying to find x, the height of this building, and I'll mark this down here on my original diagram. I know that my angle in here is 30 degrees, and I know that this is 18, and that may be the smallest right angle triangle that I've ever drawn. So I'm going to actually draw it a little bit bigger, because I think I can actually spare the room. So let's actually write it a little bit bigger so it's a bit clearer. So 30 degrees, 18 metres, and x. So once again, I mark my right angle in my triangle, I draw my line through it, and I find my hypotenuse. My line through here will take me to my opposite side, which means that this must be my adjacent. So I know that I've got a value for O, and I've got a value for A. And so this is going to be a tan problem. So tan of my angle is opposite over adjacent. So if we have a look, what do we know? Well, we know that our angle is 30 degrees, so it's going to be tan of 30 degrees. Our opposite side is x, and of course we know the adjacent side. So if you've watched those videos about finding sides, you would notice that the adjustment here that we need to do to get x by itself is this is divide by 18. So I'm just going to times each side by 18, because 18 divided by 18 is going to be 1. 1 times x, of course, is going to give me the value of x. Or another way to look at it, if I'm going to times x by 18 and then divide by 18, I'm in fact actually really doing nothing to it, and I'm just going to be left with x. So on the other side, this is going to give me 18 times tan of 30 degrees. Now, if you want to at any time, pause this video and do the working out if you want to practice it. That's a very effective study technique that you can use. I'm actually going to write the answer up here, so because I've run out of room down the bottom. So x is going to be equal to, I'll get my calculator in here, 18 times tan of 30 degrees, and my answer is 10.39. Now, is that the answer to the question? Of course, no, because don't forget, we have to add this 2 meters in. So I'm going to add 2 meters to this question, and I'm going to say, therefore, the building is 12.39 meters tall. Now notice I answered this question with a sentence, okay, because I was asked it in a word question. So when you're doing this in your test, we are going to expect to see a diagram, the working out, and that you answer it with a sentence. Now these 3 dots mean therefore in maths. That's a really nice way in which you can do it, or you could have just written the building is 12.39 meters. Okay, so that was an angle of elevation question. That one actually came out of your trigonometry booklet. Now, don't forget that the booklet is actually online, and you can be checking these things whenever you actually want. Now, if you have a look at the answer in the booklet, they said that it's, oh, hang on, get it in the document camera, mate. That's 12.4. My answer is 12.39. So they've rounded to 1 decimal place. I haven't. Remember that we will be fine with that particular thing. So I would like you to go to 2 decimal places if you possibly could. Okay, yeah, I'll catch you in the next video when we deal with angles of depression. See you later.